Namaskar, dear seekers. Good evening to all of you. So it is nice that you are joining us to our series of question answer today, even though Christmas or Christophe start tomorrow. So today's topic is my child a divine child, or how to understand and about if the person is a divine child. So first I would like to introduce myself in short. My name is Cyriaque. I come from France and I'm doing spiritual practice for more than 20 years. I live in India for more than 10 years in an ashram where I was dedicated myself to practice spirituality. And now as my service to God, as my spiritual practice, I'm traveling across Europe in a caravan. So as we are speaking today, actually we are going to celebrate also Christmas in a caravan. And about SSRF, SSRF is an acronym of the Spiritual Science Research Foundation. It was founded in 2006 with the blessing of His Holiness Dr. Vallee, that is a saint from India. And SSRF has two main objectives. One objective is to explain about the spiritual dimension and how it can affect our lives positively and negatively, and in conjunction also with the Maharishi University of Spirituality that was also founded by His Holiness Dr. Vallee. We do a lot of research using biofeedback device to understand also about the aura, because we are able to understand something that we do may affect us positively or negatively. So we can see sometime with some biofeedback device how the aura can increase or reduce depending on the action we do. And all our research also is published on the website. So I encourage you to read all the different articles. We have more than 700 articles on different topic and subject. And about the second point, or the second, is a platform that SSRF give for seekers to be able to grow spiritually regardless of their path, to be able to grow spiritually all the way to God realization. So dear seeker, usually what we do in our live stream, before we start with the topic, for 2 minutes, we close eyes just to gain concentration. So we meditate or chant just for 2 minutes to be able to gain concentration and start with a live stream. So what you can do, you can just close your eyes. We will play a divine chant in a background. So you can just chant or meditate for 2 minutes and then we will start the live stream.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय 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 ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय.
So dear seeker, you can open your eyes and then we will start the live stream. If some of you just joined us, today's topic will be about if my child a divine child, or how to understand and recognize a divine child. So it will be of 1 hour durations for around 30 minutes. I will share some point, we'll show you some photos also, some tables, some very nice photos. And the remaining 30 minutes can be your questions about this topic. So just about today's topic, as I think some of you may have heard the word children called stars children, some of you may have heard crystal children or maybe even indigo children. And these terms have been used to describe actually those children who display some special characteristic. And at SSRF and the University of Spirituality, we have observed that some children may be more spiritually advanced and that they display some innate desire for God or spirituality. And they are sometimes even more spiritually mature or more mature than their age. And at best we felt to be called what we say divine children. So who are divine children? So when we use the word divine children, we do not refer to gifted children or children who show some genius ability in some certain field. The divine children are mainly referred to by their spiritual level. And divine children have some innate desire to seek the divine due to their actually higher spiritual level. And they may show or may not show even talent in some specific or certain discipline. And those children, actually those evolved children, come from Earth, from the higher positive regions of the universe. And at birth, at the spiritual level is of minimum 50% spiritual level, due to their previous spiritual practice done in previous lifetime. And just to see about in the subtle world, we have this growth earth, and then when the person dies, at that time they go to the different subtle plane of the existence. So there are few positive plane of existence, and you have also the negative plane of existence. So actually, the divine children, when those who actually don't have, we are not above 50% spiritual level, and doesn't go to the negative region, they go to netherworld. So they are not able to go to the positive plane of existence. So that's why divine children are at a minimum of 50% spiritual level. Now I would like to show you a subtle picture, more like a subtle picture artist of a divine children who are born from different plane of existence. As you can see, it is actually what happened in the subtle dimension, how actually it is they are connected to their different plane of existence in the universe. So just to go back also, why are divine child born now also? And from the year 1999, the universe is going to go through some, what we say, spiritual transition, which also culminate into a more spiritually pure era that will start from the year 2023. And this period in the world history will be referred as the Divine Kingdom, and it will be an era of what we say spiritual renewal, where spirituality will be more prominent as it is today. And the divine children are actually being born now in a greater number, because when they will come to age, they will be able to lead the world in the future for a greater spiritual awareness in all aspects of life, and also the governance. And these divine children will help society to grow spiritually and create a world of stability and peace. As we can see now today, the world is unstable and there is no peace or less. And after 2023, it will be the beginning of more stability. Now I would like to show you a table of the characteristic as per the different regions they are born. So I think you can see now the table. So in the table, what we show you now is we have, of course, taken 4 regions. One is the nether region. It is this region that when the person is not high enough spiritually, and they are not going to the negative plane of existence. They get stuck, what we call the nether regions. Then you have heaven, that is the first positive plane of existence, and then Mahalok and Janalok were respectively the next positive plane of existence. So we can see the proportion, we have destiny, the proportion of percentage effect, the attachment to the great illusion, it means the attachment to this materialism or attachment to this world, the communion with God, the emotion, not spiritual emotion, but more the emotions from the mind, and the ego. And as you can see, from the region of nether regions, the number are quite high, 90%, 80%, and the communion with God is 0. That means there is no communion with God. And as we go towards a more positive plane of existence, all the attachment to this materialism is almost like inexistent, just 4% in Janalok. So you can see how it becomes less, and only the communion with God, as you can see, increase, and the ego also in the person or emotions in them become less. So if you have any question about what I shared since the beginning, about this table, about this characteristic, don't hesitate to ask questions of the chat. We have seeker who will prepare and moderate your questions. So just to go back to you about the divine children that we have said, no, they come from the positive plane of existence. So they usually have happy and blissful, we can say, dispositions. They have peaceful natures. They cry less as babies as compared to other children. They have also a liking for more simple living and prefer spiritually more pure food or clothes. And depending on the positive region they come from, they also display different type of qualities. What we wanted to show you now, I want to show you 3 pictures of divine children. So first photo, it's actually 2 sisters from USA, with also a small boy who come from Austria. And you can see all of them, actually they look spiritually quite positive and pure. And for the second photo I would like to show you is a young boy from India. And just look at the face, how the eyes and the face look smiling and emanate also bliss. And the last photo you can see also, you can see how she look more spiritually pure. So like that, as we said, they display some positivity emanate from them. So just to go back also, now we will go, as we have shown you, different level, heaven, the children who come from heaven, children who come from Mahalok, and children who come from Janalok. So those who come from heaven, actually they show also some artistic qualities. And when we have an example of a girl who is called Mrs. Anastasia Vallee. She's actually from France. And from childhood, what we saw that many butterflies used to be attracted to her and sit on her hand and even would stay with her and on her room. We'll show you a photo because this is an article. There's an article about it. There is also a video. If we can maybe paste also the link on the chat, because there is a video of 6-7 minutes. It was amazing to see how the butterfly would stay with her for more than 2 days. Now to go back to you, it's about divine children who come from Mahalok. This is the region above heaven. They are usually very calm and have actually clarity of speech and thoughts also. They understand from within more complex situations in regards to spirituality, and they can explain it also in simple way. One example is a small girl, Pratana, of 7 years old. We can show the picture, and you can actually she is able to speak easily with adult about spirituality, and you can see on the photo she's more mature. And now I would like to say about the children who took birth from the very high regions is Janalok, and that is the region that is above Mahalok, and they are actually born at a very high spiritual level, at least 70%. That is actually they are born as saints, and they are born to take humanity towards God realizations, and also to participate in God's mission. And I would like to show you a very beautiful photo of a small boy. And as you can see, if you look at it slowly, and you can see what you feel also by looking at it, but maybe he's sleeping, but he looks actually like he's in meditation, and there is also serenity on the face. So I just would like to keep the photo for 5 more seconds, because just for you to see how you feel by looking at the photo. Maybe what we can do now, we can do a small experiment. You can just close your eyes or leave open eyes and look at the photo maybe for half a minute and just see what you feel. Don't use intellect, but try to see what you feel by looking at the photo, either with open eyes or closed eyes, and then you can write the reading also on the chat. Okay, we can end now. You can write your experience. If you saw something or felt something, if nothing is there, it's okay. But if you have something, you can write. Just to go back now to the topic, we would like also to show you an interesting findings. It's a number of divine children that has been recognized or identified by SSRF so far. So we have these 3 regions, what we call Janalok, Mahalok, and Heaven. And as you can see, from heaven, that is the first positive plane of existence, where the spiritual level is between 50 to 60%. There is more than 140 children. And from Janalok, above the 70%, there is 2%. That means actually more than 80% of the divine children come from heaven. So it is more rare. It is actually quite an exception and very rare for having divine children coming from Janalok. Okay, so we can go back to some more practical aspect, whether some of you are parents or some of you are interested in spirituality or this topic. Just to understand, we understand that there are divine child, but actually how to nurture a divine child, how to help them. So what we can do is we can develop them towards a proper behavior and habits. That is, they should behave in a correct way. And beside nurturing them physically, we can also introduce them to spiritual practice from an early age. And one such spiritual practice that children are easily able to actually chant God's name is in repeating the name of God in the mind. They can be told also different story of saints or devotees that inspire them to do further spiritual practice. And important also is parents. The parents or the caretaker should also do spiritual practice themselves, just to be an example for the child to follow. And also if the parents of the divine child do not help their children spiritually, or if the divine child themselves do not focus on spiritual growth or even misbehave, their spiritual level even can drop. So it is not a certainty, because a child is born with a higher level, that their spiritual level cannot go down. That can happen. I would like now to read to you, it was a message that His Holiness Dr. Cyriaque Vallee That is a source of inspiration of SSRF that he wrote about divine children. This is something he wrote in 2010. So he says that divine children who have taken birth from higher region, plane of existence, do not have interests in things related to activity or modern worldly life. They don't like the environment of school or college. The parents push them to excel in studies. However, when parents realize that they have a strong spiritual bent and their purpose of life is to attain God realization, then they will be able to assist their children better. And such children can only progress themselves, but also help others to progress towards God. That is from His Holiness Dr. Vallee, source of inspiration of SSRF. So just how to divine children impact society. So actually just due to their presence, there is a lot of positivity coming from them, and they can impact society. So the thoughts about spiritual practice spread in the environment wherever they go. The negativity around them is less. And such children also can speak and speak more at the spiritual level. And they have also leadership qualities also to take responsibility of others, help others to practice spirituality. So in a way, it is a blessing from God to give us divine children, and it is also God's divine plan also, or plan, that they are coming at the right time. So just for about what I share and show you, for this, some of us may have noticed a quality of divine children present in others, in children that you may have met. It may be also because maybe born as a divine child, or it's a reflection of past births from spiritual practice. So just to understand, it's just not only a gift, but also a responsibility to grow actually ourselves spiritually, and to raise divine children spiritually so they can actually attain the real purpose of being born, is to grow spiritually and merge back to God and spread spirituality. So I don't know if this topic was maybe interesting, because in today we show you many photos as well as graph. So if you have any questions, now we can take your questions, so you can type your questions, or if you have some experience you can share also. I just need some time to display your question. I'm not able to see your questions yet, so I hope it will be able to come. I think it is coming now. Maybe I will be able to see your questions. Okay, first maybe we'll go through your readings. Some of you, there are few questions, and there are some of you who have done the reading. So I think some of you said it's like a small Krishna. Many of you had Mark, Anita, Vesna, you all felt it looked like a baby Krishna. From Chichi Grace, you said like messenger of God. From Pramila, you felt calmness and peace. From Sonal, you say so peaceful. Ram, you call Rama. And from Yasmina, you felt so warm energy around the heart chakra. Okay. From Gopala, you felt pleasant. From Markti, you say so much energy. And Yoga Maya Dasi, you felt spiritual warrior, feel peaceful and strong spiritually. From Dedu, I felt calmness and peace. That is nice, actually. Many of you, you are able to have correct reading to see how some small baby, now we can see the positivity, just to explain that there is whether the person is small by size or a baby or grown up, actually by body it will look small or but actually from spiritual vibrations, it is the same. Whether the baby is 1, 2 years or 20 years, it will be the same because the spiritual vibrations are there. Okay, just to go back now, to go to your question, there is a question from Pratam Nayak. How many divine children has been born approximately from Janalok in the world? We have shared, no? Pratap, in the table. We have shared that from Mahalok above 60%, there is 225. Okay, it got missed. It seems some mistakes happen that actually you are not able to see. It is 225. So there are 100. Exactly, I will go back to the slide. It was 140 coming from heaven, that is between 50 to 60%. 225 from Mahalok, it is above 60%. And above 70% is only 2. So good you share, you were able to say. Okay. From Vesna, Vesna Franciszkowicz, it is hard to understand why is all this happen to human, all this illusion, Maya, and after death also. See, Vesna, all this happening, we are born again and again for 2 reasons. We are born to grow spiritually, and the second is to go through our destiny and experience happiness and unhappiness. So in a way, because we don't do spiritual practice, we get entangled in this, we can say, this great illusion, and we are not able to realize. That's why the importance and the need to do spiritual practice. Then we will not be in a way so much attached, or we can say entangled in this illusion of the great, what we call Maya. From Anita, and see, also to go back to Vesna question, we should not try also to understand so much with intellect, because how can we understand God's, we can say, play, or how things are happening? It is something beyond our understanding and intellect. Spirituality is about experience. So when we grow spiritually, what happens? We start experiencing what we call spiritual emotion or bliss. And that is something far, far superior than just happiness that we experience. And as that time, more and more we get the experience of bliss, we realize that what is happening around us become futile. And we understand that questions, why God had created the world, why this happen, become not necessary. Why? Because we experience God from within only. So there is, otherwise, when there is no God, we can't experience God. Then we try to find God with intellect. Why God did like that, what God does like that. But when we experience God from within, then we experience bliss only. It is not that we get theoretical knowledge, why does God like that. Because ultimately, we are content, spiritually content from within, and there is no question inside. We are in bliss only. From Anita Daswani, how do you get such children? See, this is different seeker from all over the world who have that also sometimes practicing spirituality with SSRF, some not, but coming across to them due to understanding about their spiritual, to understand that they have something different. And then His Holiness Dr. Atavuli, who have a very high sixth sense, is able to understand whether a child is spiritually evolved or not. So like that, across the world, different children has been recognized due to their, in a way, spiritual level or spiritual capacity. There is a question from Carlos B. It is common for other people to carry babies or children in their arm, and they are not their parents. Does this negatively affect children? That your question, Carlos, is not clear to me exactly what is the relation to the topic. If you can just reframe the question, if you can. From Pramila, we'll take another question, and Karos, I can come back to you if you can frame again the question. From Pramila Salian, my son is very uncomfortable with the world. He's uncomfortable about the negativity that exists around. How can I help him? So, Pramila, what you can do, you can tell him about chanting God's name. It is a simple technique that helps to calm the mind. And also, you can also explain about maybe the different chant like Shri Gurudev Datta or Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva, because that's create a protective shield around them. So what can happen if somebody is sometime spiritually more developed? So two things can happen. If they are positive enough and they do spiritual practice, then they may not be affected from the outside, means from the negativity. But if someone is not practicing spirituality, then negative energy also may affect them, and also they may have good perception, so they may be more sensitive. So that's why repeating God's name to grow spiritually or to protect oneself from negative vibration. So you can introduce him to the different chant, and you can also introduce him to spiritual practice, how to start spiritual practice. Because if he has an inclination, then he may feel to start. And just one important aspect also, Pramila, because we can't say now whether your child is divine or not. And what is important, we can introduce them to spirituality. We can say it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. If, let's say, they accept and they are able to do, that's very nice. But if after 2, 3 times they refuse and they don't want to do, they are not interested, then as parents, we should not have expectation that they should do. We should just let it. Otherwise, by pushing them, it may lead to frustrations. And if it is meant to happen as per destiny, then they may start spiritual practice either in the young age or in adulthood, or they may never start spiritual practice. It will be also, but for us as parents, we can introduce spiritual practice to them. From Pramila, you say each chant Om Namo Bhagavate every night. That's very nice. But Pramila, just to see how to help him now to go to the next stage. Chanting is one, but how to help him depending on his age. I don't know how old is he. If he's too small, of course, it will be difficult. But if he's start to be above 7, 8 years old, he could start some other aspect of spiritual practice. There is another question from Somja. I am an adult, but I felt I have thread of indigo stars. Sorry, I just go back. I felt clear audience, clear sentence. My life was challenging and difficult. How do I know what is my divine purpose? See, Somaja, it's a good thing that you experience something, but ultimately it's important to do spiritual practice. We can't understand our divine purpose. Actually, our purpose is to grow spiritually and to merge back to God. That is purpose for every human being on earth. But whether we have a divine purpose, what I should do, that is something we may not be able to understand. Only a true guru or sense will be able to tell. But ultimately, more important, we should do spiritual practice, have a good foundation in spiritual practice. Then after whatever path or we want to do, then it will be, because the aim is what? Is to grow spiritually. That is the most important aspect. From another question from Yogamaya Dasi. I think my friend child is a divine child, as the parents are spiritual, and he was born on Shivaratri, but he is hyperactive. Is it normal for a divine child to be hyperactive, or they are usually calm? So as you say, Yogamaya Dasi, we have shared that a child with between 50 to 60%. Actually, they can be more. It depends. If also they get attacked by negative energy. A child above 60% are usually calm. So sometimes the hyperactivity, we can see whether it is caused due to problem caused due to ancestor or negative energy, because if they are child, they are more vulnerable. Huh? So what you can do, you can tell the parents to tell the child or themselves, repeat God's name or repeat the protective chants such as Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya or Shri Gurudev Datta. There's another question from Christina Mu. Is it important for me to know if my child is a divine child, if I want to raise him spiritual anyway, and why? That is a good question, Christina. See, whether we know or not that our child is divine child, ultimately what we say, we should make sure to raise our child in a best positive way, to behave with correct conduct, to develop them with good qualities, to teach them the correct way of conduct. So that is one aspect. We can always introduce them to spiritual practice, whether after, as I shared just before, whether they will practice it or not. So if you can say three times, if not, then we should not harbor any expectations, because it will be in their destiny. But ultimately, as parents, we can tell them. Then after, it is up to them whether they will do it. Is it answering your question, Mich? This is a question from, it got erased. From Christina Mu. Wait. Okay. I will go. This is another question from Pratam Nayak. Are divine children born to only parents who have higher spiritual level? That is also a good question, Pratam, because what is important for heaven, the mother should be spiritual, to have some spiritual level. Why it is very important? Because the mother carry actually the child. So for that, the mother has to have some spiritual level to some extent. It cannot be average. So parents usually are above average spiritual level, and when they go to much higher spiritual level like Mahalok or Janalok, most of the time, or the parents are actually seekers full time, because the child chooses to be born in a place that will be the most conducive for his spiritual practice. Why? Because they don't have destiny almost. But as I shared before, parents may do some spiritual practice, may have inclination, but the role of the mother is much more important than the father, as per in regards to spiritual level. There is another question from Milinda Rao. Is my child Indigo? My daughter of 4.5 is very mature for her age since birth. I can say we never could treat her like a baby because she instantly responds. She always eat little. Only when she's angry, she loves to listen, talk, and watch about God stories, especially Sri Vishnu. She speaks only about Avatar, and she displays strange calmness when I get very angry. She behaves like mature and tries to calm me down. She learns very quickly. It is very nice, Melinda. I just wanted to clarify about Indigo in comparison to Divine Child. So Indigo, actually, if you go also on the internet, Indigo may not have such a correct understanding, because it is some child who displays some characteristic, but may not be actually spiritual, or may not have spiritual inclinations. But when you look for your child, as per what you say, it looks more that your child may be towards inclination towards desire for God. So displaying more qualities, such as be able to make you calm. So it can be possible that your child may be more divine child, but just wanted to understand whether it is clear more to you, the difference between indigo children and divine children. But Melinda, you can always tell her to do spiritual practice, but remember, it is very important that we should first be example and behave correctly. We are the example of the children, and the mother. Actually, in India, we say that the mother is the first guru, the first teacher. So that is very important for yourself to do spiritual practice if you want to help your daughter to be spiritual or to grow spiritually. Because if we display anger, no, or bad habits, then they will copy. So in a way, responsibility is yours. From Sarika Nikam, another question: if any parents know each child is divine child, then how to help them to continue spiritual practice? See, Sarika Nikam, see, no one, they may not know, no? And as we can say, we should tell 3 times, and whether it is as per destiny, so whether they will start spiritual practicing in young age, or some may start spiritual practicing in adulthood also, or when they become teenagers. So ultimately, as a parents, we should not harbor any expectation. We can just say, and then this is our duty only, to just say, but we should not push and expect from them. And even if our children, if you have children and they do spiritual practice, we should not expect how much they should do. From Yogamaya Dasi, is it true that after 2024, soul from lower region will find it hard to take birth? That Edgar Cayce predicted, will more divine children be born after 2024 than at this present time? Yes, from the lower region, when you mean lower region, whether you mean positive region or if you mean negative region, if you can rephrase again, Yogamaya Dasi. And about 2024, it will continue. Actually, in today's time now, the average spiritual level is 20%. So in 2020, after 2023, the average will increase by 10%. So more souls will come back, which we will be more conducive for them for spiritual practice. So actually more divine child will be born, not more because it will be more conducive, or the environment will be spiritually more conducive for spiritual practice. From Tishidi Grace Tismile, this is a question: can children who are spiritually evil improve to higher spiritual level? How can parents help them? So about children again, whether they are spiritually evil, it depends if whether sometimes children can be affected by negative energy, it means they are possessed by some negativity. So at that time, if we can tell them or help them to perform spiritual healing remedy, then they may be able to overcome, whether it is because of the negative energy affecting them. If the child, or it is at low spiritual level, average we can say 20%, at that time they will have no inclination or desire to practice spirituality. They will just have attachment to this world, or to materialism. So they will not actually be inclination or wants to do spiritual practice. There's another question from Anita Daswani. May I know what is spiritually evil? This is the first time I heard. Okay, actually, Anita, we don't say also spiritually evil. Because that is not, maybe this is what she's trying to say, is somebody who is maybe affected or who is more negative. So we don't say spiritually evil. It is more like somebody who is more negative. So there are people who are actually negative. So there are two types: either those who are at a very low spiritual level, or those who may be affected by negative energy, like possesses them. So at that time, it is more the entity or the consciousness of the negative energy affecting the person. I hope this is more clear to you, Anita. This one is good. You saw, as per SSRF, we also say it is more somebody who may be evil or negative, but not spiritually evil. From Atul Bali, there is a question: can divine children be born be born through in vitro process, artificial inseminations. See, it will depend here at all body, because again what is important is sometimes actually, just to explain what happens, there are some child that was adopted, but actually that child was spiritually higher, and because with the first parents, actually the destiny was completed, and there are less destiny with the other parents. So I don't know about this aspect. Is some question we can ask whether this is possible. But see, being born, whether it is through in vitro process, because it will depend if some parents cannot have children or they have some problems, so they do some artificial inseminations. So again, if the mother carries the child and the mother is spiritually evolved and do spiritual practice, then it can be possible, because the soul will choose a place that is spiritually positive. Okay. If some of you have some other questions or some point was not clear to few of you, also I was not clear with some questions that you have asked. So in case you can rephrase also. Otherwise, if you don't have any other questions, we can also always end also with today's topic. So I hope more important is how we can practice spirituality and understand that also we have to be example, practice spirituality ourselves, because sometimes there is a tendency now we want to teach others how to behave, how to do, but whether how we behave ourselves, and whether how we are actually trying to change ourselves. So dear seeker, hope you learned something about this topic. Today is we are on 23. It is Wednesday, so Thursday also, that is tomorrow, Christmas Eve, we will also have the collective chanting meditations, as well as Saturday and Sunday also we will also have our collective chanting meditations. So dear seekers, wishing you a good festive Christmas Eve, and hope maybe to see you tomorrow or this weekend on the collective chanting meditations. Namaskar to all of you.